So this video is going to be about the electromagnetic spectrum. So the electromagnetic spectrum are the types of waves that can travel even when there is no matter. So when we first learned about waves, we learned about two different types of waves, mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves. The electromagnetic spectrum is all of the waves that aren't mechanical waves. So if you put the electromagnetic spectrum, all the waves next to each other, they talk about them usually from low frequency or low energy to high frequency or high energy, long wavelength to short wavelength. The type of waves included there: radio waves, microwaves, infrared light, visible light, which is the really teeny section, UV light, X-rays, and gamma rays. So the parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. First off, you have radio waves. Those are the longest wavelength, and they're used to broadcast signals. Think like radios, television, satellites, all those operate off of radio waves. Then you've got microwaves. Microwaves are the second longest wavelength, and they're used for heating and communication. Radio waves and microwaves can actually travel through the human body without providing any damage. Again, think microwaves. Cell phones also use microwaves to communicate as well. Infrared light. Infrared means below red, and it's light given off based on a temperature. When you think about infrared light, think about like the infrared cameras, the heat-seeking cameras that they use on like manhunts and police commercials or police shows. They use it in real life too. So the next part is that little teeny part, but obviously the part we know most about because it's the part we can see, and that's the visible light. And this is, again, the smallest part of the spectrum, the smallest section, and it's all of the colors we can see. Again, if we go from low frequency, long wavelength, to high frequency, short wavelength, the colors go in the order of the rainbow that you learned: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Some people learn like green, blue, indigo, violet, which is like a purple and then like a bluish purple. However you learned it is fine. But that's the order the colors go in. And again, red is the lowest frequency, longest wavelength, and purple or violet, whatever shade you choose to use when you talk about it, is the highest frequency, shortest wavelength. Then we move on to the last part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Now in this part, there's high energy because they have a high frequency. So these are the ones that when they go through your body, they can do more damage, so it's more important to stay away from. Beginning with ultraviolet light. This is UV light. Think ultraviolet light means beyond violet, so it's past the violet, the purple section in the visible light spectrum. Some animals can see UV light. Some of those animals include like bees. Other things are some flowers that have really neat UV light prints that you can't actually see with visible light. And it's the biggest sources from the sun. This is harmful in high doses. Think like tanning beds. UV light is the stuff that sunscreen is trying to prevent you from absorbing. If you read broad spectrum sunscreen, it's preventing like UVA and UVB type rays. This is the ultraviolet light, that same thing they're talking about. Then you've got X-rays. These are the same X-rays you've heard about before. They can see through most living tissue, and they're used for analyzing bones, since bones absorb the X-rays. So most living tissue that X-rays goes right through. It goes through skin, it goes through muscle, it goes through like all the rest of the stuff in there. But the bones absorb it, so you don't see past the bones. So that's how you can see the bones there. So you think X-rays on a broken bone. Last but not least are gamma rays. Gamma rays are the highest frequency wavelength. It's used to treat some illness. Think like radiation in cancer patients. But again, all of these ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays, they have high energy, so they are more harmful. The higher the energy, obviously, the more damage it can do to the cells as it tries to go past them. So how much of this electromagnetic energy, or how many of these electromagnetic waves actually reach us? So if you think of this as the ground, and up here is the atmosphere, radio waves and visible light waves come all the way down to the ground. They literally come all the way down to see us. Nothing gets in their way. Microwaves, infrared rays, UV, X-ray, and gamma rays are mostly blocked by the atmosphere. Obviously, there's some places where the atmosphere is a little thinner, or the intensity of the wave is much stronger. It will go a little bit further down into the atmosphere, possibly all the way to Earth. That's how we get some UV rays. But most of it is blocked by the atmosphere.